Hope you had a great week. So what I'm sharing today is what I am currently reading, which is Genesis. And I am just in the middle of reading about Joseph and his life. And when I was reading chapter 37, this is the chapter when we learn about all the dreams that Joseph is having and about the jealousy that his brothers have for him. And while I was reading it, a verse that really struck me was right before he was thrown into the pit. For those of you who don't know, he was very envied by his brothers. He was the favorite of all of the 12 brothers, and they decided that they were just done with him, and they plotted to actually kill him. And in the story, he ends up being thrown into a pit, and then they decide to sell him off as a slave. And a lot of us growing up in church, we hear the story in kids ministry about Joseph and his, coat of many colors and how he was betrayed by his family. And even though he had a very rough life in slavery and everything, God was with him along the way, giving him favor and all that stuff. And as I'm reading in this chapter, at the part where before they throw him in the pit, before he gets sold off into slavery, all the brothers are very much, wanting to get rid of him. And one brother speaks up saying that they shouldn't. And it's a very interesting lesson to kind of take away from. So I'll go ahead and read it. It's Genesis 37, and I will start in verse 18. It says, "They saw him from afar," him being Joseph, "and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, 'Here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams.' But when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, 'Let us not take his life.' And Reuben said to them, 'Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to his father.' So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore, and they took him and threw him into a pit. The pit was empty and there was no water in it." They threw him into a pit basically just to kind of torture him. He didn't have any food, he didn't have any water, and then some people came across and they decided to sell him into slavery. Then later, when Reuben came back, he saw that Joseph was no longer in the pit. He said, he returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit. He tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and where shall I go?" As in, my plan was to save him. What am I to do now? And what I was kind of looking at this from a lens of kind of this day and age is that, he had told him, don't kill him, just put him in the pit. And his kind of plan behind the scenes was to save him and then bring him back. And when I was reading it, from how I look at it now, is why wouldn't he just condemn their plan instead of just giving them another option so he could secretly save him instead of doing it in front of everyone? And I'm not saying that this is the point of the story. It's just kind of my takeaway from it, of how I look at it now in our lives, is when has there been instances when you have been able to point out a wrong or correct somebody's enviness or anything that they do that's wrong, and instead of just being out front with it and being face to face with it and telling them, we kind of decide to go about it in a way to where we don't have to directly address it. For instance, growing up, when you're at school and you saw somebody getting bullied or you saw somebody getting picked on, instead of going out in front of everyone and saying, "Hey, that's not right, stop doing it," and instead you wait until they all leave and then you go up to the person saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry, that shouldn't happen to you," kind of a thing, instead of just calling it out in front of everyone because it's wrong. And it's definitely a thing much easier nowadays where we can hide behind ourselves, whether it's online or keeping our thoughts to ourselves. it can be really hard for people to kind of step out in that way because no one wants to have to deal with the criticism or having everyone kind of look down on you, because a lot of the times people will do things that are right in the world's eyes, but we know, because we believe in the Bible, what is right and what is wrong, that when you call things out, if it is on the other side of what the world thinks, people will come against you and come down on you negatively. And a lot of the times we don't want to deal with that. We want to have peace. And that's a whole other conversation of how there will never be peace on this world until, we're with Jesus. But it's definitely something to think about, of even when it's difficult, even when everyone is against you and everyone will be against you, do you still go out of your way to do what is right in the eyes of God in front of everyone for the whole world to see? So that is my thought. Would you always go out of your way to do the right thing, no matter what the public perception of it is, no matter what other people think of it, as long as it aligns with the word of God of what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to treat people and how we're supposed to show his love? Why would you not do it? Is it just because you're more concerned with other people's thoughts and opinions on you? I hope that you have a great day. Bye-bye.